For that, are you going to controller advice classes? No. Controller advice is common for entire REST services. But whenever you are dealing with one REST service, the message what you are framing for that specific negative scenario or the exception scenario. So what you are doing inside that method itself, inside the controller flow itself, you are just creating a message or you are creating an exception object and you are making it as a meaningful message format and you are adding to the response entity object and you are sharing that response entity to the client. So that is how you can handle it. So that's what either of the ways people will okay. So either of the ways people will follow the exception handling. It's all your decision. Like the exception is dealing with out of multiple REST services, then you can go for the controller advice and respect to exception handler mechanism. If it is only you have to handle that solution or the exception handle only specific to one REST service, then what you are going to do? You are going to manage with try catch blocks and you are going to make sure creating a custom response entity with custom messages and sending that response entity to the client or returning that response entity from the controller method. You have to do that. So please practice those examples also. Handle exception specific to only REST service, only that REST service. Okay, so this is all exception handling. You just try this. Okay, now let's see a concept of headers. So what is the headers? What is HTTP headers? We will try to understand. So anyone knows the concept of headers? I mean, knows in the sense earlier anyone discussed as part of the servlets or anytime anyone discussed about the HTTP headers? No? Right? Okay, no problem. So see here now. I will explain you what is HTTP headers and the importance of HTTP headers also. I'll try to explain. Okay, so see here now. So here the headers are part of again HTTP protocol. So that means whenever we are going through the HTTP protocol or whenever we are implementing any web application, by using any programming language, when we are implementing the web applications, the headers is a concept. Okay, headers is a concept available across the entire HTTP, across the HTTP protocol. So that means the same headers concept you are going to see in other programming languages also, everywhere, wherever it is involving HTTP protocol, irrespective of the programming language. That means my point here it's not only part of Spring Boot. Okay, like we are discussing in the Spring Boot doesn't mean like it is only part of Spring Boot. It is a generic concept you will see everywhere. Okay, fine, that is fine. Now, the actual concept of what is headers, what is HTTP headers, why HTTP protocol provided a concept called as headers, at what scenario we have to use the headers. I'll try to give you one or two scenarios. For example, I will just discuss a simple scenario. Let's see here. Okay, I have client and I have server here, server application. That means, okay, so in this scenario, generally a request will go, a response will come back, right? This is the general regular flow of any web application. We will send a request, server will process the response on a successful scenario, whatever it is. Now again, you will keep on sending the requests. You are clicking on the so and so front end or whatever it is. You are sending the request, you are getting the responses in any web application that will happen. Fine, right? So as part of this, for example, assume I have to share, I have to exchange an information between client and server for every request or response. Okay. And that information is not part of business logic or not involving any business requirement. Okay, so what is the point I given here? It is a client and server has to exchange the information. Okay, but at the same time, that information is not related to the business requirement or business logic. So that means what is the business logic here? It is again, for example, assume as part of security, for example, I'm taking a real-time scenario. Whenever we are going to implement the security, generally what is going to happen? So assume here you have a LinkedIn application, linkedin.com/in/here path variable. You will have what? ID or not? Your user ID. That is what we observe, right, in LinkedIn profiles. So whenever you are replacing your user ID, what information you will see? If I replace user ID path variable level, if I given ABC, whose information we will see? ABC user information. If I given XYZ user ID, I will see XYZ user information. If I given my ID, I will see my information. So that means that is fine. Now let me make one small thing. Okay, now let me open the LinkedIn. Okay, here as part of this, right now I am giving my ID. So what is going to happen? Something I think it is going to ask pass. I forgot my LinkedIn password. I'll leave it. I will take one more. I mean, my intention here it is what we know already. For example, even if whenever we are using Instagrams also in our real life, we will see what? What is this? This is a user ID or not? So if in this place, if I given again ABC XYZ, we will see their profiles, right? So whenever I'm replacing with your Insta ID, so I will see your user information. If I replace it with another user, I will see that user information. So that is also fine. But at the same time, whenever, if you see here, I'm opening my Insta ID here and I can see a couple of information here it is. Now, if anyone entered this URI in any computer, any browser level, everyone will see this information or not? 100% they will see. So they can change my password. You can change but you can see this information, right? In your computer, if you are taking this URL and if you are entering, everyone will see the information, whatever I can see here, right? But can you delete my photos? Can you change my password? Similarly, if I entered your own, something, I don't know whether it is available or not. Okay, for example, if I enter something, Naresh IT or whatever it is, can I change their photos from my computer or without login? No, right? So that means how, in this case, Instagram application is knowing that you are the person, you can edit your photos, you can delete your photos and all. When it is knowing that, what you have to do, if you want to allow editing your photos or deleting your photos, changing your passwords, what is the operation you have to do? What you will do? Login, right? So once you are doing the login, on successful login, then they will give you all edit options, delete options, user profile options, changing your user IDs, passwords or everything, right? So for that, what you are doing? Login operation you are doing. Okay, so as part of the LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever it is, so you are sending the login login service and request, login request. And similarly, response. You are going to get a response like what? Unsuccessful. You will see is your home page or not. Your home page with all edit options. That means now you can edit. Now you can edit your profile. You can change your display pictures. You can change your passwords and everything. Right? At the same time, now, for example, once I'm doing the login, I can change my password. But after that, I given in the same browser your user ID. So can I see your profile or not? We can see that. But at the same time, with my login, I already logged in. I can change my passwords. I can change my display pictures and everything. And at the same time, I entered your URL. Okay, your user ID. I can see your profile. Can I change your passwords this time? No. Then how LinkedIn knows that? How Instagram application is knowing that you can change your passwords, but you cannot change the other passwords. You can see their only information. If it is a public information, you can see all the information, but you cannot edit, you cannot delete, you cannot change. So how Instagram application knowing that? So in this case, generally what is going to happen here it is, I'm giving you a high level point of view. We will discuss same thing in the security module maybe in the next week. Okay, just on a high level. Now what is going to happen here it is on successful login. So unsuccessful login means what? Unsuccessful login means what? That means username password is valid. Okay, then we will create a token. We will create a token for that user Dilip Singh 1306. What we are creating? We are creating a security token for the user called as, whoever is logged in. Whoever is logged in, for example, I'm taking Dilip Singh point of view. That's why a security token is created, and that token is created when on successful login. Now, as part of the response, the token is also attached. Now, generally what you will see? You will see home page, your photos, welcome to home, something like that you can see, and you can see our edit options, delete option, change password, view profile, all these things you can see, right? So that means along with that functionality, what they are doing is here they are sending the token, whatever is created here. For example, in future you will see the tokens will be generated like this in a unreadable format. In a security point of view, we will generate a tokens. So this is same thing I will discuss as part of the security. That means please listen here also. I will not discuss again much in the security point of view. So in this case, token is created on successful login. If it is login is failed, a token is going to be created. What is the use? Wrong password. Simply will give a response back to the invalid credentials. And are you going to see any edit options, delete options? No, right? Invalid credentials, right? So that's why unsuccessful login. Now this token is going to share to the client application. Now this token is shared to the, share it to the client application as part of the response. So whenever you are sending a response object with all home page and all, you are sending what? You have to send what? A token also you have to send. So the successful, whatever the token created for this current user. Fine. Now next time, whenever I send one more request on the same browser, same session with your user ID, something like ABC123, can I see user information or not? Now as part of the response, what I will get? As part of the response, what I will get? I will get ABC profile details or not? I will see ABC profile details or not? Fine. But after that, I'm trying to send a request. I'm trying to make sure somehow editing or deleting the photos of ABC or changing ABC profile photo. Is it possible? Is it possible? As a delete, login user is delete. I can see the ABC profile, right? But can I change ABC passwords? Can I change ABC photos? Can I delete ABC display pictures? All these things. I cannot do anything. Only view I can do. I cannot do anything. Then in this case, how Instagram is knowing here it is? Give me a second, guys. Just a second. Okay. So in this case, generally, how the flow will happen in every real-time application here it is. The token, whatever you received on successful login, every time for every request, you have to send the token. The token, whatever you received by the server application, okay, received from the server to the client. So here it is client, we know that, and it is server application, right? So in this case, the token, what you received on successful login, for every request, you have to send always the token to the whom? Server application as part of the request. So this time what you are doing, for every request you are sending the token. Now what server application will do in this case is, the token it is going to verify. It is going to verify the token. What is the token? Is it valid token or not? So that means how it is going to verify it is, this token generally, the token what it is received earlier, this is what, right? Okay, this token received by the client. Now the same token again came back to the server application as part of this request. Now what the Instagram server application, backend application is going to do, is it valid or not? That means in this case, whose user ID you are sending? ABC123. But the token is created for, the token created with user ID. What? Security token created for which user ID? Dilip, right? So let's make it as Dilip, simple. Dilip saying something. Okay. Now, here it is validating. From the token, internally, it will read from for which user this token is created. So then it got an ID called as Dilip Singh. It is decrypting now. So encryption, decryption, you know that, right? In a high level. Don't say like in and depth. So in our education time, you know that. Encryption, decryption. What is the meaning of encryption and decryption? Converting a plain text into a non-readable format or in a security format. Like Dilip 123 is the password. So you are encrypted that by using some security algorithms. Then how it looks like? Is it going to be readable format? No, generally this will be like this, right? Okay, whatever it is. Now from this user ID it is decrypted. What is the user ID it got? From this token, Dilip Singh. But what is the user ID I received as part of the request? ABC123. Both are same? No. So in this case, now Instagram is understanding server application. So this request actually, the logged in user is authenticated user is ABC or Dilip? ABC or Dilip? Dilip is the authenticated user. You just sent by ABC as a viewing his profile. Then server application will realize we should not give permissions of deleting or updating ABC profile information because the authenticated user is Dilip only. So then what is going to do? It will just give you the all ABC profile information as a response. Profile information as a response it will give without edit permissions, without any, only public information. Sometimes in our profile, can we make few photos as private, few photos as public or not? Right? So then in this case, is it going to display private photos, private content? No. How Instagram is knowing that I should not display ABC private photos? Because the authenticated user is from the token it realized, Dilip, but you are looking for the ABC. So then it is realizing like, okay, I have to display only public information of ABC. I should not display private photos of ABC. But at the same time, again, if I send Dilip 123, Dilip Singh 1306 in the next request, can I see my private photos? Yes, 100%. Because now same step will be repeated. Request went for the Dilip Singh 1306. Okay, and then from the token, what is the username it got? Dilip Singh 1306. Right? So for every request, the token has to go always. That is what I told you. Right? So now, in this case, both are same or not? Now Instagram application knowing that, okay, both are same. So he is already authenticated person. He already given the username, password. So this token is created only for the Dilip Singh 1306. And so user request came for Dilip Singh 1306. From the token also Dilip Singh 1306. Everything is good. So now the Instagram server application is going to send a response. Like you can edit your photos. It will give you response with all your private information also. You are understanding how a business application, what is going to happen as part of the Instagrams, Facebooks, LinkedIn's, whatever you are using on daily basis now. Okay, this is how internally a security mechanism is going to happen. Okay, fine. Now here, with respect to headers, what we have to handle. Now I given you a statement here. For every request, client should send token value received from server application. So who given the token? Server application, right? Okay, fine. Now in the backend, server is doing every time validation, all these things. This we will see very practically in the security module. But what we have to understand from this is, every request you are sending the token. Now tell me, the token what you are sending, is it part of business logic? Is it part of business requirement? So the something like, as a customer, I mean, the token, whatever you are sending every time as part of the request, every request you are sending the token from client to server. So in this case, the token, whatever the token you are seeing here, is it somehow related to the business logic or business requirement? No, right? It's a, why you are maintaining this token? In a security point of view, the request coming from the client is a authenticated request or non-authenticated request or not. You are, for the security reasons, you are exchanging a security key always. Have you observed in the movies sometimes? I mean, in generally in our olden movies also, we will see. You will have a currency note. Half one person will maintain, half one person will maintain, right? Generally, we will see in these movies. Now, one person went to so and so location. So how that person trusts this person? So when that person is trusting this person, he is the authenticated user. You never saw movies? No, olden movies especially. So what? Then he will show his half currency note to that person. Now this person is validated. Okay, half of. Connecting. Okay, the series number, this series number is matching. Then what is that? Security or not? Validation or not? Now you went with another 10 rupees currency note. You have a note and you cleared it and you went that note and you shown to me. Then is that a same token I have with me? Different note. You came up with duplicate or maybe not duplicate. You came up with your different number or different currency note. Actually, it is 100 rupees note, but you came with the 10 rupees. Then what I will say? I will reveal all my information. That means something, assume I have something. I mean, it's all about the illegal things point of view they will display in the movies, right? I will deliver the products. No, right? So whenever it is validate security point of view, okay, this is matching. So as per the security, I came to know that he will come up with the half note, then only hand over the products. So then one person came and he showed me the details. I validated both. Everything is matching. So then I will hand over the products. This is what happening in the movies, right? So that is what security. That is what security module. So same thing, guys. That is what understand. That's why I told you, when you are understanding things from our real life, everywhere the things will be, you can learn from anything, everything. You can learn from movies also. This is what happens. Now whatever the scenario I explained here, somewhat what we discussed in the programming point of view or security point of view, matching or not. Why client and server is always exchanging the token? Now, for example, the same person after 1 week, again same person came to me. The token is expired. For the deal, the token is completed. Next deal, same person is going to come. Without verification, are you going to give all the are you going to hand over the products? Who knows that? Maybe yesterday he was fired from the organization. Or he done the last week, 2 days back, he did some fraud. You should not hand over. Then again, are you going to maintain the same token one more time? Same currency note? They will throw that away. That deal is done. Then again, they will maintain one more currency note, half from the another person, half from the another person. So now next time also, when the person came, by seeing his face, are you going to hand over the request? Are you going to hand over the products? No, right? Even though that person came from last 2-3 months or every time, but every time due to your security reasons, you are going to 100% validate the token. It's a valuable information, valuable products, right? So everything is validated. Then only again, as a process, you are handovering or delivering products to that person, right? So this is what in the movies we saw, right? Same thing here also. Now here, the point here it is, in the currency note also, whatever they are carrying, half of currency notes in authentication. So this is all about the authentication or not. He's checking, he is authenticated person or not. The incoming person is authenticated or not, valid person or not. Everything is good, then only providing everything. For example, that currency note is not matching. Then he will say like, you are unauthorized person. Simply unauthorized person, that's all. Now in this case, the dealer, assume as a dealer, server application is a dealer application. So dealer is going to maintain always same kind of dealings with only one person. They will maintain from hundreds of customers. Hundreds of customers. So that means he will have hundreds of half currency notes. One customer will have one half of currency note. So whoever is coming to him, he will verify his database. This currency note is having in my 100 out of 100 currency notes, anything is matching or not. So everything is matching. Based on that, I will give his delivery products. I will give his products to based on that currency note, whatever the validation done. So whatever the deal I done with that so and so customer one, I will deliver that products to the customer one. Similarly, customer two came. I validated this person just, I need to deliver only 2-3 items. I will deliver only 2-3 items on successful authentication. Third person came with third currency note, half currency note, something like that. Now what you are going to do? He is invalid person. For example, he came up with his own currency note, half he cleared and half he kept in pocket and half he came and he is showing. So are you going, the dealer is going to verify currency note is available or not. That series, currency note in the sense series. Now that series is available? No. Then what dealer will say? Unauthorized person get lost, right? So that is what here also happening. So that means in every scenario, however the things are happening here, request token you are sending. Now my point here it is, whatever the currency, half currency is be coming up with every time that client to dealer level, customer to dealer level. So that currency note is really playing an important role with respect to authentication. Once authentication is done, now the products, the results, whatever the items, delivery, assume it might be gold, it might be diamonds in a movie's point of view. So there is any relationship with that currency note and with this gold. Once authentication is completed, that currency is part of these diamonds. Diamonds is a different product. Gold is a different product. Why you used only currency? What is the purpose of you used currency note? For the purpose of authentication. Once authentication is completed, is there any use with that currency note? The actual products are something like gold or diamonds, like however shown in the movies, right? So in this case also, every time you have to carry the, see, we taken a simple scenario, okay, as with respect to our real life or movies point of view. Now in this case, the token you are exchanging between client and server. Sometimes server, first of all, who initiated this token? To the client. Server sent a token to the client. Now client coming up with the token. After some time, token is expired. That means maybe we will see what is the expired or not. Now, but still you are an authenticated user. Now what I will do? For example, customer one came, the deal is completed. Now, while I am going back to the home, I again had one more deal with the same dealer. Then what he will do? He will give another half note and he will say like next time come up with this token. Something like that. Now similarly here also, so whenever token created by the server given to the client, client came up, client sent the token again back to the server application. Like that you are exchanging the token. Now in this case, the token is really involving as part of the business functionalities, business functionality in the sense you are doing the login, you are uploading the photo, you are deleting the photo, you are changing the password, or you are added a reel, you started live from your profile. So these are all business functionalities, right? Uploading photos, deleting photos, making the reels, watching the reels, liking the reels, making a comment, okay, or making a live from the Instagram. These are all called as Instagram business functionalities. As a customer, what we are doing. So out of all these functionalities, whatever I discussed, whatever I told you right now, is there any relationship with token? Is there any relationship directly with the token? No. But you are sending token every time as part of the request or not? Right? So that is what the point of the headers concept I'm trying to say here it is. I have to exchange some information always between server and client application, but somehow it is not related to business requirements or business functionalities every time. But information should be exchanged in between client and server. So that information generally you are going to share as part of the HTTP headers. Now they tell me this token you are going to send as part of the header or as part of the path variable, as part of the query parameter, as part of the request body. So as of now, how client is sending information to the server application? What are the concepts we know till today? One way is request body. Pojo class, you are sending JSON payload. Second way, path variable. Via path variable also I can send the information. Third way, query parameters. But here, I never ever told you a request body is responsible for what? Taking the user information, login username, password, his photos, his first name, his last name, his password. Okay. His photos or his profile information. These are all related to business functionality or not? Yes, 100%. Photos, videos, reels, all these are all related to the business functionality. Okay, fine. Path variable level, we are sending what kind of information generally? Resource identifiers. Now, Dilip Singh 1306 is a path variable. I mean, this is a value as part of the path variable or not? Yes. Dilip Singh 1306, ABC 123, Naresh IT 123, so and so Suresh 123. These are all comes under the business functionality or not? Yes, 100%. Without user ID, how we can see others' profiles? This is all involving business or not? Business data, users data. Okay, users data, business customers data, query parameters. At what time you will send the query parameters? Maybe filter values. We understood in the Flipkart point of view. I selected the brand. I selected the screen size. I selected the RAM size. You are sending what? A business functionality information or not? I want Apple. Filter, you selected brand Apple, applied. Then what is the value going? Brand equal to Apple. You selected RAM size, 16 GB. Then what is the value going from client to server? RAM equal to 16 GB. So this is all involving business or not? 100% business data. But in this case, the token what we discussed right now, is it 100% related to any business data? With the token, are you doing any real business? Are you uploading any photos? I mean, as part of the photos, as a customer, I'm using the token. I mean, the token is helping us to process our, to make the reel, to upload the photos. No. But when it is helping, your photo is a request, the information, business information. To upload that photo, then token we are verifying, whether security point of view we are verifying from the token, he is the correct person or not. He is the correct person, then upload. He is not the correct person from the token. You find like it's an invalid token or invalid unauthorized token. Then you are stopping him like you are unauthorized. You cannot upload. If you want to upload, do the login, get a valid token, something like that. You are going to give the information. So in your entire life, now whenever you doing the Gmail application logins, Instagrams, Facebooks, wherever you will go, almost everywhere you will see this concept, token based concept, token authentication. Okay. Everywhere you will see. I know that. I mean, I know that everywhere you will see in the sense, in the back end, everywhere it will happen. But as a customer point of view, have you ever seen this kind of tokens in your real life? Whenever you are using any applications, have you seen anytime this kind of tokens with your eyes in your front end application or back end? I mean, in your front end application? No, right? But this information is always exchanging between your client and customer. So then how? That is what the point here it is. So that kind of information you have to exchange as part of the HTTP headers. Now server sending token to the client. Next time onwards, client sending token to the server. So that means in this case, server to client, client to server. Whenever I'm sending client to server, it will be called as request. Whenever server to client, a response. So whenever a server sending the token value to the client, it is going part of the response body. So at the same time, the token has to share it with the concept of headers. So that means here again we have two types of headers. What is that now? Request headers as well as response headers. Now tell me what is the meaning of difference between request and response headers? When you are sending an information from client to server, then that information, I mean, with respect to header information we are talking now. Whenever you are sending a token, for example, or header information from client to server, then that headers are called as request or response. Request headers. Client to server, request. Server to client, response. Now similarly, when server sending some information to the client, header information, then those headers are called as response headers. Okay, now in this case, on successful login, who created the token? Server. The token who sent it to the client? Server. So that means the token you have to receive you are receiving the token from server to client as part of which headers? Response headers, because it coming as part of the response body, so response headers. Similarly, next time onwards, client sending token to the server, then it is going as part of the request payload. So that means it's a request header. You got the point? What kind of information you are going to share as part of the headers? That is one concept. Second concept. Okay. In the last class, I told you, whenever you selected okay, if you see here, you are sending what data? JSON data, JSON payload. Okay, and whenever you are exchanging, whenever you are changing to the XML, I will show you tomorrow or day after tomorrow how to send XML data. We will take one example. For example, you are sending XML tags here, XML payload. A REST service we can implement with JSON and as well as XML also. A single REST service is supporting both JSON and XML. Assume it is supporting JSON body as well as XML body. Now, as a client, what body I have to send? Either JSON or XML. Anything I can send. Based on that, internally, server application is going to invoke the HTTP message converters, either XML converter or JSON converter. So, how it knows that? Based on what? I already told you. Content, type, header. So whenever you are changing XML here, internally what you are seeing, content type, application slash XML. Now if I am sending XML to, next request, I am sending the JSON body. Now the header is going as content type is a header. Now see, this is also a header. Now this header I can call it as what? Request header or response header? Request, you are sending as part of the request. You are telling to the server application, hey server, I am sending the JSON data. How you are saying that? With the help of the content type predefined request header. Then whenever a request went into the server, Spring Web application, first thing what it will do? It will verify the content type header. What is the value you are sending in this case? JSON. Then immediately internally what it will invoke? What it will do internally? First of all, I am supporting JSON or not. Is it supporting JSON? Yes. Server REST service is supporting JSON payload. Then it will invoke which payload? Which in converter? JSON converter. So JSON to Java converter. Now next request, you sent XML payload. Then immediately server application, what it will do internally? It will verify what is the content. It will not look into your body first. It will look into the header value. What is the header value came? What is the header value went? Application slash XML. So that means now server understanding like the request body contains which payload? XML payload. Then what internally it will do immediately? Whatever the URI you create sending here, it will verify internally this REST service is supporting XML payload as part of the request or not. Okay, if it is supporting, then what it will do? It will invoke XML converter. That means Java to XML, XML to Java converter it will invoke internally. So how the server application is making a decision that payload is supporting or not? If it is supporting, which converter has to invoke? How all these things are knowing by the server application? With the help of content type header. With the help of content type header value. So that's why now whenever you are changing to XML, it is changing to the XML. Because in the Postman they automated like this. If you go to a real front-end application also, I shown you already in the front-end application. They are adding content type header. In React application, I shown you. Okay, they are adding header called as content type and they are making value as application slash JSON. So that means now React application telling to the Spring Boot backend application, I am sending JSON payload. So please handle in a JSON point of view. I like that. So what is this? Headers concept or not? So what is this? As part of the request, they are sending header and what content they are sending? JSON data. In case assume React application sending the XML also. So as part of couple of REST services, they are sending XML. Then what they will give here? XML they will give and they will create this entire content as a XML payload instead of JSON payload. Okay, instead of JSON, they will write down their own logic. Finally, they are sending what? XML content, and they are sending header as a XML. So then server will verify I'm supporting XML or not. If supporting, then I will invoke XML converter to convert that XML to Java object. You got the point? Now, similarly, you will see couple of headers also tomorrow. I mean, one more header also. Now, I told you already about the accept also. What is the point of accept here? Now, content type, okay, one of the example I will take. So, content type is a predefined header or not? Yes. So, that means again, in a generic point of view, we will have two things. One is predefined headers. Second one is user defined headers. So that means even we can create our own headers also. We can give something like token value, so and so, ABC, XYZ, something like that. We can also create our own custom headers also as part of the request or response also. We will see that, how to do that. Now, content type is part of request or response? Request. So now it's a predefined or user defined? It's a predefined by the HTTP protocol. And here you are sending the value something like application/XML or application/JSON. Now, with respect to what is the meaning of sending either XML comma JSON in this case? Is it you are sending request in XML format? I mean, request body, I can write down like this. Request body in XML format. Now, for example, my REST service is supporting, one of the REST services supporting a response in the XML as well as JSON. One more REST service is supporting, they are producing response in the JSON comma XML. I want XML response. Then what is the header? So this is all about what you are sending as part of the request. And at the same time, you have to tell to the server application, I'm giving you the JSON payload. But whenever you are sending the response, you are supporting already XML and JSON as part of the response. You are giving JSON or XML response, but I want XML response. Like that, you have to tell to the server. Then server, what it will do? Once the request is executed, while sending the response, it will send JSON or XML. You requested XML. Then it will convert the Java object to, by invoking XML converter, the Java object will be converted to XML content. And that XML content you are receiving as a response. Now I want JSON also as a part of response. Then how you are informing to the server application again. So that is what the header of accept here it is. Now as part of accept, what you are going to do, see the information. We recommend using this header. The accept header is added to tell the server that Postman, leave about the Postman, replace with client or React application. So in this case, Postman, that's why they given the Postman. The accept header is added to tell the server that client can understand and process the form's response content type. So you want what? XML. So that's why you're asking, I will accept response as a XML. So as part of this, what is the value you have to send then? You have to send XML application/XML or application/JSON, something like that you have to send as part of this. Then automatically, what is going to happen here it is, server application will process your request and it will give the response. So in this case, accept is a request header or response header? Response. You are sending as part of the request. That's request header. That's all. See, you are sending as part of the request. This value going as part of the request or coming as part of the response. You are sending as part of the request. You are saying like, I will understand XML language. As a client, when I am calling you, please answer me in XML language. You are requesting, answer me in XML or give me in the XML. But you are requesting means it's going as part of the request. So this is all, see, in simple, Postman, this section is called as which section? Request section. The below section is response section. So these are all headers, whatever you can see here, accept, user agent, something. Now can I call all these as a request headers? Okay, like that. So that means you will have a predefined headers. One of the example is accept also. We will see how to send the accept and all slowly. Now as part of the response headers, what are the headers you will have? Let's see here. What I will do, I will start my application. So now what is the point you understood? Headers is a concept 100% we are using in every real-time project or not. 100% headers leave about the security token. Think in a normal situation also. Okay, there is some mistake yesterday. I will delete this. Okay, in a normal scenario also, a simple user, for example, why React people are sending very clearly, they are sending JSON. So that means it's mandatory. That means in a React application point of view or a front-end developer point of view also, you should know the headers concept or not. So that is what I told you in the first sentence itself. It's not only part of Spring Boot, it's a generic concept across wherever HTTP protocol is involved. Either Python, .NET, React, Angular, wherever it is. Okay, wherever it is. Okay. So now let's see, creating a small example, how to create, how we are going to read value from the request header, how we are going to send custom headers as part of the request. For example, assume when there is a requirement demanding send an information, send a value as part of request. Okay, headers. Then how you are going to deal this kind of requirements or sending values as part of the headers. So how we are going to implement in the Spring Boot, we are going to see, as well as one more requirement is sending response, sending data or sending data as part of response headers. Response headers, how we are going to handle in the Spring framework, we will try to understand. So these are all predefined. By default, client will send. Sometimes user defined headers also we have, right? So user defined headers, how we are defining as part of the request, how we are defining as part of the response. Now, for example, in this case, I told you token is sending from server to client. That means this token should go via response header or not. So in this case, assume my token name is, my header name is token or security token, something like secret key. Let's make it like this. Secret key. This is what my token. I have to send header name. So here again, I would like to give you. What is the two things you observed here? Tell me now. Content type, application/XML. So this will be called as, from this syntax as an example. So this will be called as header name, colon, header, value. So every time headers are following a syntax of what? Key colon value pairs or name value pairs, whatever it is, you can call anything. Name and value pairs, key value pair concept. So key will be always same. Value may change in that respective scenarios. So headers are always looks like this. And if you want to see an Instagram or wherever it is, go to the developer tools. Okay, let's send the request one more time. So Dilip Singh 1306, observe here. Headers is the heading you can see here. Okay, if you see here, what is this? Response headers. So that means that is what you are discussing. Whatever the header values you are seeing, these are all came as part of the response from Instagram server to your browser level. These are all came from the Instagram server. Okay, so they are sending a lot of things with respect to their application implementation, security point of view and all. So sometimes you will see in a investigation point of view or in, it's reality also. When you are making, people are tracing you where you are doing the login. When you are doing the Instagram login, police people are identifying very easily. How? How it is possible? You are doing login from the so-and-so Delhi location, so-and-so location. But how they came to know that you are done login from the Delhi? So how they are tracing? That means don't think like you are, what is happening here it is, whenever you are doing the Instagram login, or most of the times any business applications, whenever you are doing the login, they will capture in the back end, they will capture at what time you are logging, from which IP address you are logging, okay, and what is the host name, what is the browser you are using, everything they will access. That is what I will show you right now. See here. This is how they came to know that. So what is this? IP addresses as part of that, and I will show you few other. See, few things they will not display in the security point of view, but I will show you so many things. Let's go to the request point of view. As part of request, they will capture everything. See, response you got at what time? Friday, 5th April. I mean, GMT means green mean. I mean, this is standard timings. IST, GMT, EST. Okay, like that. So GMT is a international standard timing. You can convert it into IST, then it will come as 8:36 AM. Okay, so that means you received this response at what time? At what date? Okay, sorry. This is what very important. And request headers, observe here. You sent a post, you sent it to Instagram host. You are sending in the English language because sometimes Instagram will support other languages also. Cookie. See, you are sending from which? Chrome browser or not? So if you are opening IE browser, then that information also captured. From which Chrome browser? What is the version also they are capturing? See, how do they know that your Chrome browser version? 123, right? So you can see that one also or not? Oh, it's gone. I closed it. Okay, sorry. Here it is there. So they are capturing your browser version also. So you got now how they are tracing. Don't think like no one will trace you. Everything will be traced. So please be careful. Okay, whenever you are doing anything. So you see here how they are capturing. And I mean, my point here it is, what are all these things? Now they are collecting your Chrome, from which browser, what is your browser version and all. Is these things are really involving any login, registration, reels, uploading photos, deleting photos point of view? This information is really required. They are tracking your information some other purpose, tracing purpose. In future, if you are doing any illegal activities as part of this browser, as part of this application, they will tell you from where you are doing, from which computer, where and all, that computer connected to which internet, which IP address, that IP address belongs to which location. They will trace everything and they are reaching to your home or they are reaching to that location. So like that, you can observe here which operating system you are using. They will collect lot of this details. Chrome 123, something like that. Windows operating system, you are using Windows. Okay, accept. So that means you are saying like I will accept any kind of data, XML, something like that. It's all internal functionality, front end to back end to front end point of view. So what is the point you understood here now? So we are seeing lot of payloads or not? See here, I think you have XML payloads also. See, that's what I told you. This is all what? I'll make it in a JSON JSON format. Open the dev tools, developer tools. Observe how things are happening. Okay. Format. So you see here, payload, Dilip Singh / reels. So this is what we discussed, right? REST services point of view. How to create REST services. They are sending for this request, what are the content? I mean, they are adding lot of other stuff also. Based on that, you will see. They are sending your reels information. They are sending all your private information. I mean, you will see couple of your public information also here. Okay, whatever it is. Now you realize JSON is very important or not? Every application nowadays using REST services or not? Yes, this is all as part of the REST service only. Okay, leave it. Before closing, we will discuss at least one example. Now, how to define a custom header as part of the request. That means client has to send that request. Client has to send that header always as part of the request. If client sending value for that header, how we are reading value from that header, that is what you are going to see now. So that means, let me implement. Okay, now see here, I'm sending request to the existing XML JSON. So you are going to get the response. 200, okay, you got. See here, headers. Now content type what server sent you? JSON. At what time you received response? Greenwich time. I mean GMT timing. Today you received. So that is what. See, couple of headers you are receiving as part of the response or not? Yes. These are all comes under the now which comes under what? In this case, these headers will be called as response headers. So in this case, content type you are calling as response header. In earlier case, request. If you are sending as part of request, request header. If you are receiving as part of response, response headers. Okay, let's create a custom or user defined header. Let's create a user defined header with respect to Spring. How we are going to do? How we are going to implement? Let's see. Okay, so here the requirement is I'll take a small requirement and then we will implement. We take a lot of understanding about the headers and I explain couple of points related to security point of view also. Okay, requirement is send it. I cannot send token. Send username. Send host name to, or I will write down like this. Requirement is create a REST service where client should send always their host name. Okay, client should send always their host name as part of header. This is what the requirement you got. So what is the meaning of host name here? Your computer name. So generally, if you go to the command prompt, if you given host name is the command, what is this? Dilip-Lappy is my computer name. I given as Dilip-Lappy. So every computer will have like that. If you go to the settings also, you will identify that. If you go to devices and all, you will identify. So this is what the host name. Host name is your computer name simply. Now, I would like to trace who are sending the request. Every time I would like to trace their computer names also. So this value I have to share as part of the request payload, as part of the path variables, query parameters, request body, no, right? So these kind of information generally why? For tracing, tracking purpose, security point of view. But this information should go always from client to server when you are sending the request. Now in this case, can we take it up as a what? Header or not? Yes. So this is going from client to server. Client to server, it is going. Now, can we define it as a request header? Yeah, how many informations we need here? One, information, host name. Okay, how many headers we can define? We have to define one header. Okay, let's implement this. Okay, so see here, and yeah, public string get user login or so candidate login. So this REST service, see, and I will give you like this as part of user login, as part of user login. Okay, I mean login REST service. So that means along with login, username, password, you have to collect, you have to receive always client host name also, nothing but their computer name also. So in this case, the login username password is a business information or not? Yes. Host name is a business information? No, right? So in this case, username password, I can take it as request body. Okay, candidate login. Guys, please practice so many examples. Don't relax by practicing one or two examples and I know everything. Okay, so there are, you can observe when you are practicing the older things, you can understand the upcoming things very easily. Okay, assume I'm sending it as a post mapping and I'm doing slash candidate slash login, one more REST service, and I'm going to create this class also. Okay, here private string username. I'm not. This is all you know that we are not involved as of now. Header private string password. Okay, fine. At the rate data, fine. Okay. Return null. User login success. So you just take care of service layer and all. Okay. So I will, you know that very well now. To do service and repository logic. Okay, fine. So as of now, we involved any header here? No, right? But our requirement is demanding getting host name of the system, whoever is sending the request as a header value. How to define header? So whenever you are sending request from the Flipkart now, sorry, from the Postman, let me do one thing. Okay, candidate login. I'll do one thing. Sys out of login request. Candidate lawyer data. Okay, so candidate login. Username. Okay, here I have to delete comma. So what is this? User login success. Anything we are dealing with the header as of now, this is very straightforward, but we have to send the header also now. Fine. Okay, username I given. Okay, so as of now, we know that. So you got Dilip and Dilip 111 something like that. Fine. But what about the header? How to implement header? In this case, client has to send a header always. And as a REST service point of view, if they are not sending header, are you going to process your request? Assume they are not sending the header. We should process the request execution. No, we have to inform like header is mandatory, something like that. But at the same time, how to define that header in our REST service? Let's see here. Okay, so simple. How many headers you want? One, right? At the rate request header, you will have an annotation called as, what is that? Request header annotation. So what is the header name we've defined? I'll make it in the next slide. So what is the header name we defined? Can I make it as host name? Okay, that is what the host name. And whatever the header value coming here, it has to go to this method parameter. You understood no point? It's simple, like path variable, the way you're writing the programming for query parameter or path variable, same thing here. But this annotation, this time dealing with header value. Now in this case, what you are doing as part of this REST service, as part of the request, you are expecting how many headers? One header. The header name is always should be host name. And that value, now client has to send always a header value, header with a name called as host name and respective host name value also. That value also you have to send. Okay, so see here, sys out of request came from generally, so we cannot call it as computers. I mean, in a professional terminology, servers, these are all things will be called as host. In database, you will have, right, local host, host name. That is what host name is nothing but computer name only. Servers will be called as generally host, something like that. Request came from host, from the host name now. Okay, now let me send the request. Is it started first of all? Oh, okay. See here. Let me send one more time. Clear console. Send the request. Currently, we are facing an issue. Please try after some time. Okay, I think this is because of the exception. Let me show you the clear exception. I'm disabling the yesterday exception handling concept. You got exception, right? Yeah, this one. Because of this, you are seeing that message. You got the point now? Internally, it is showing some exception. Header is missing and all. But that is what handled by the exception. That's why I told you. These exception handles we will write down. It's not like every REST service point of view. I'm disabling yesterday's one. This is all null pointer. We are not getting any null pointer. Or if, yeah, in this case, we are not getting any null pointer automatically. Okay, now let's send the request one more time. So see here, what is this? 400 bad request. The reason is required header host name is not present. So server is saying your request is bad because you are not sending the header called as host name. So now how to send header name? If it is React and all, they knows that. Now what React people will do, comma, I mean, in a front end point of view, we are discussing now. Host name, colon, the value. They will collect. See, from the front end point of view, they know how to read automatically your current computer name. There are some libraries available. In Java also, it will be available. By using Java programming, predefined programs, classes, predefined classes and methods, we can see your computer name, your time, which IP address you connected. We can automate it. If you are running that program on any computer, it will give all your computer information. Your computer name, your time, your operating system, everything. Like that, every programming language is going to have. You cannot say like, sir, do I need to enter always our host name? They will automate it. Somehow they are picking up. See, that is what, right? How they know that? Otherwise, they are picking all our Chrome version also. My Chrome version is 123. They are picking. So that means they are having libraries to read that data. Now they will send like this. But in this case, we have Postman. Go to the headers. Go to the request headers. So whatever the headers you are seeing, don't disturb them. Those are all by default going as part of the Postman, as part of the request. Now here, in below what you have? Key and value. So in the header section, what is the key? Host name. It should be as it is, case sensitive. And the value, you have to send delete -lappy or whatever it is. Now send the request. Now what happened? User login success. Now go and verify in the logs. Request came from host name called as delete lappy. So this is how you are going to send, or you are defining REST services where your requirement is demanding a headers along with the request payload or something. In this case, what front end people will do, I mean, any client, they will automate it. Okay, whenever user opened his browser, he is doing login password from his username and password. From my computer, I will give my username password to the Flipkart website. In the back end, it is taking my computer name. When you are doing from your computer name as a customer, are we entering manually? Now in the back end, they will write down how to take it up. But as a customer, what you are entering every time? Username, password. It is responsibility of whose? Customer, right? Business person. So that is how the headers has to be used. Now you got at what time headers has to be used? I shown you so many things. Okay, you realized at what time we have to use headers, what information you have to exchange between client to server to client as a headers point of view. If anyone else is asking you in interviews, tell them this kind of information. Sending our host names, IP addresses. Tell them if you are opening the dev tools in the Chrome browser, whenever we are sending requests to any website, we will see a lot of headers going as part of from our computer to Instagram server or Gmail server. They are capturing our browser version. They are capturing our operating system, our IP addresses, all these things. This information we are sending always as part of the headers. Like that, you can give a real example. Okay. As of now, we are done with the what? Only request header. Now, if you have one more header, for example, your requirement is demanding one more header in the same case. In the REST service, you will define one more, comma, request header, define one more something like IP address and string IP address, then you will get that information also. Now, once you received here, you will send this information to some database for tracking purpose or tracing purpose. You can create one more table, tracing, user trace, something like that. This information you can send to the table. This information you can validate from the users table. So that now this information will be available. You can capture time also. You can set that information to the user tracking table, something like that. Now, what about the response headers? Now, server will create some response headers. I will take this tomorrow, don't worry. But it's very simple. Now, for example, HTTP headers is the object you have equal to new HTTP. On successful login, we are generating a token, something like that. I told you, right? Assume you have to send the token as part of the HTTP headers from the Spring framework. Don't take from the java.net HTTP. It's from the Java language. It is from the Spring language. Okay. So response headers equal to HTTP. Create object for the class. Add any response headers dot add. What is our header name? Secret underscore key. Assume a token is created here. In security, we will see that how to create tokens and all. Token created on successful login. If login equal to success from the service layer, create a token, and the token is something like this: Spring token. So you will see a tokens really like this only going further. Now this a token is generated and you are sending that token. So what is this? You created what? A header object. You are adding as secret key, and if you are having one more response header, dot add one more, dot add one more. Now overall header object is this. Then how can you send this header to the client? Here you defined what? Only plain request body. In earlier case, if you want to send custom status codes, what you used? Response entity. At that time itself, I told you, in future, we will get a headers concept. If you want to send headers, then also we will use response entity. Okay, I will discuss little bit tomorrow also, but you know that now. It's nothing. String. Now what I have to do? Response entity. I will do one thing. Response entity, body type is string. Response equal to new response entity. See here, if you have body status code. In this case, we have headers also. So can I take string body headers, comma HTTP status code? This is okay. Overloaded constructor, yes. 3 parameters. First one is body. So that's why I'm telling you, please practice older things. Don't ignore. When you're practicing things, everything will become easy. Okay, in this case, same headers I'm attaching. And status code is HTTP status dot okay, something like that. 200 okay, whatever you return. Return this response. Okay, now everything is good. Nothing we did today. We just created, if it is response header, what you have to do? If you want to send some information from server to client as a header level, then what is the first step you have to do? Create object for the predefined class called as HTTP headers given by the Spring Framework. Add your header name, header value, and that object you have to send as part of the response entity. We know response entity. What is response entity? So today you added headers also here. Now send the request. So before that, observe anything failed or not. Everything is started successfully. Yes. Now let's send the header also. Send the same request as it is. Go to the headers. What is this? Secret key. That same key you received from the server or not? I mean, the same thing we sent from the server or not? Now Postman as a client received the header called as secret underscore key or not? Right? So that is how you are going to send headers. Sending headers is very easy. Creating object, add it to the response entity. That's all done. And accepting headers from the request, you have to use an annotation called as a request header annotation based on the number of headers. Then very simple, very straightforward only, but the only concept is now you got an idea when to use headers. That is what important concept here it is. Okay. So that is all about the headers. Very simple. Okay. It's very 100% required knowledge also. I shown you already practically. Every application will involve headers concept. Please make stronger knowledge here also. And tomorrow we will see XML content. As of now, we taken only JSON. The more popular is JSON only. Okay, that is, there is no question in that. But one example I will cover quickly. How to send XML payload. For that, what you have to do changes in the Spring Boot application level. One small change you have to do. Apart from that, nothing much. We will see that one example tomorrow with respect to XML also. Okay, so that's all. And let's connect on